Alright, since I haven't done a fish video in a while, I thought I'll give an update on my fish. So here I'm starting off with the 10 gallon in my kitchen. As you can tell, all the fish are doing just fine and whatnot, so I really don't know what else to say here. I mean, all the fish are still alive and whatnot. My 5.5, it's doing fine in here. I got 3 bettas. It's been like this now for about a month. Haven't had any problems yet. I really don't know. I really don't know how to word this video since I'm not running this. Since I'm not doing this on a script or anything. So, off to the next tanks. Here is my 10 gallon with the angel pair. These guys have spawned 2 or 3 times in this tank already. Each and every time they spawned, they ended up eating their eggs. So they're kind of holding off on spawning right now. I think they're trying to figure out what they want to do next. It's been about a week and a half now since they spawned. Normally the first 3 spawns that they did, it was within 3 weeks, 3 days of each other. So I think they're holding off on spawning. But other than that, these guys are doing just fine. And I also have a free 10 gallon tank right here. What I'm going to do is that when these guys spawn again, is that I'm going to actually move these, is that I'm actually going to pop these 2 into this 10 gallon to actually let the eggs do their thing, and hopefully I can get some angel fry. Next is my prized 10 gallon. Reason why I say it's prized is because I rarely touch it, and this tank has been running now for nearly a year, I believe. And I haven't lost a single betta in this tank, especially considering I go against everything people say about keeping care of bettas and whatnot. So, here's America, my koi, which really doesn't look like a koi anymore, and my first double tail. I did recently do a water change though, and that was because I added the sponge filter. And that's because I removed the original hang on the back filter that used to be here. That way so I can have double filtration on the 10 gallon right here. And also this allows my koi to actually freely swim around now in this tank without having to worry about a current. Here's another one of my 10 gallons. This tank's been running for the same amount of time as this tank. And again, I rarely touch it. I rarely do water changes or anything like that in both this tank and this tank. And whatnot. So yeah, as you can tell, I still got all my fish in here. This originally was a female sorority tank. I unfortunately lost all the female bettas, but all the other fish you see I did not lose. I don't know why that happened, but I'm guessing whatever happened to the bettas only affected the bettas. And I also want to say one thing. This filter right here, it was clogged for about 3 months. And within those 3 months, I didn't lose a single fish, which absolutely amazes me. So that shows I'm doing something right in this tank to where I can just leave it alone and have the filter practically 90% clogged and I don't lose a single fish. But I did do a proper water change. I did do a vacuuming of the gravel and whatnot when I found that out. So these guys are now back up and running and everything's nice and happy now. Here's my 1.5 with mid-May male. He has a very deep, beautiful blue. I do want to put him into a bigger tank, but since he's so well established inside this tank, I'm afraid that if I move him, I'll end up killing him. I've had that happen a few times with bettas, so I really don't want to risk that for this one. And this tank's been up and running now for about 4 months. And this is the first time I'm actually seeing algae in this tank. So that means this poppus plant is really doing its job, and it's just a small little clipping too. Alright, the tank's in my bathroom. This is one of my 5.5s. All the bettas in this tank are still doing fine. He's still doing fine too. He's currently flaring at himself. And I do need to do a little bit of tank maintenance. I gotta clean off some of the algae. Next tank started one in my bedroom. This one right here. I'm gonna be cupping these guys And I'm going to do some major tank cleaning in this tank because all their fins look really nasty and whatnot. So I think I'm just better off just like draining the tank water down all the way and then just basically restarting this tank to an extent. And basically clean everything excluding the sponge filter. The only thing I'll clean on the sponge filter will be the algae. And if you're wondering about why there's no light, that is because the low LED strip is shorting. As you can tell by a little dab of hot glue. So yeah, I have a short in here, so I'm about to get a whole new strip of LEDs and rewire the thing. But yeah, I already lost one transformer to this to the tank lid, so I'm not going to risk the current transformer I got now. And currently, that goes for my 2.5 gallon right here. Brogue, he is still doing just fine. Sorry about the autofocus, but he is a Walmart find. My Amazon sword is still doing fine. The LED strips that I have in composite with the main LED, these LED strips are kind of going bad, so that's why I have them disconnected too. So the only light that needs to run is the main one, and that main one alone can easily grill this Amazon sword. Now on to the 20 long. I still got all my fish excluding one gourami. I tried everything I could to save the gourami, but the poor thing couldn't make it, so other than that, everyone else is still alive and active. I still got all my 3 angels. None of these angels are paired up, so they're probably either all males or all females. I don't know yet. I also still got the rams, as you can tell. I might need to do a little tank maintenance because there's some algae growing. And the roots on my pappus plants that are in here are exploding. So it practically makes a backdrop. And of course, there's the pappus plants right there. I am still getting some fake plants for this tank. It's just taking a while since it's my father that's buying the plants for me, and he's just buying them when he can. So yeah. But everyone in this tank is still doing fine. Here's my 10 gallon of my 5 goldfish. I'm currently fasting this tank because the big guy right there, the big butterfly I believe he is, he gets swim bladder, so I'm fasting this whole tank for 2 days. And on the 3rd day I'm gonna give these guys peas. And of course everyone's still doing fine in this tank, as you clearly can tell. My 3 gallon cube. I still got all 3 guppies and Mr. Betta. So this tank is still doing fine. And last tank I want to talk about. The 10 gallon right next to my computer. Well, technically above my computer. I still got my 3 mollies. I still got my little 3 randoms. I still got my 2 little angelfish. And I still have Mr. Betta. But unfortunately, Mr. Betta likes to be very antisocial. The only time I get to see him is when I feed this tank. And I am slowly replanting this tank too to give him more of make it so he can feel a lot more safer. But this is the current setup I have. But if I pop open the lid, you'll see him hanging out right there. Look, there he is. Kind of a shame he hides all the time because he's a very beautiful white betta. But that's his personality, so there's nothing I can do about it. But as you can tell, all my fish are doing fine. The only fish I lost was that one gourami, and that was about 2 weeks ago. So I'm doing something right, I guess. It still sucks I lost a fish, but what can you do? Sometimes there's nothing to do about fish, or fish dying or whatnot. But hopefully someone found this video interesting.